Nightmares. It's like I couldn't shake them. God-forsaken nightmares tormenting me. Millin Quinoa, Memoirs, entry 1017. They arrested Leyla last. She wasn't even crew, wasn't even one of us smugglers. Chrysler City Police. Always doing such a damn fine job. The arrest was casted from a headpiece someone stuck on Vinny. Seems they rigged the whole thing so all the cast stations carried it live. I managed to escape with the ship. They followed me. I ran. They were still scrambling. Unprepared, really. The Sire broke through their security nets easily enough. She could have taken out a city, but we were smugglers. Sometimes mercenaries. I was about to kill a bunch of civvies running from the cops. Then, they sent drones. I fought my way out of the Chrysler system by hook and crook, blasted into hyperspace solo for the first time in my life. When I rounded the last of the shattered unformed webs of nebula, neutron star derelicts that skirted the darkness at the edge of the galaxy, I came up upon the big Hercules cluster. I could see the final void of intergalactic space, just past the Echo City mines and the alloy camps of Phlegra Station. Into that labyrinth of red and black smelters and dark skeletal forms, looming against the void I shot. The cast then were nearly silent but for a maddening background of static and wailing signals like the ghosts of the predecessors warning doom. Empty casts. I knew what that would mean. Raiders and marauders taking out the cast relays with neutron cannon. Corpses and busted shields, empty silver starships drifting in the charcoal wastes, in the cold and radiation. I booted some stim, but my chemical plant was low. I had been manufacturing life support for a long while without reconditioning. The station was near. I wasn't gonna sweat it until the air got bad. If I still had light years, then I'd worry. I ported and locked it down in the mechanics bay, registered and slept in my cabin when the stim faded. A few days later when I awoke, my life support had been scrubbed, and the ship's air was sweet as an alpine meadow on a big Alp O'Neill station. I drifted down the alleys of the station over to Bongo Joe's down the hatch for a few drinks and news of the marauders. The most interesting thing was that day was the condition of one of the pilots. He was sledgehammer drunk and hot-wired to the neurons. They'll be back. He was talking to no one in particular. Wacko pinhead drunks in every bar from the Tarantula Nebula to the big streak run.
What's that?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Just you pipe down, bonehead, or I'll contact Cyborg Central about your expired pilot's licenses.
My licenses are up to date in every respectable government in the galaxy. Some unrespectable ones too. And my credit jack has maxed the station bank.
I was the choice of audience for the insane. The harbinger of madness that evening had chosen me as his disciple of doom.
So who the fuck are you? CC doesn't give me no how-to anyway. More chip than dip. Sit down and listen to me.
Yeah, sure, old-timer. Just put the piece away, okay?
I was taking a Merc 62,000 off the Tarantula Nebula. The hyperstream is easier up there. Fainter. Better for the old boats. That's the run I was making 10 years ago. The Silurian Nebula was right in my flight path. But me, hey, I'm a rational man. I don't buy in for old myths of ghost ships and their lost star systems. I'm not about to recalibrate 500,000 hyperstream calculations to avoid a grim spot on my galactic travels now, eh? Well, it's just me and the old Merc in the stream for weeks. I'd been riding high for 18 hours one shift, and I needed some sleep. I pulled down to a minimum and set the autopilot on deep scan. I'm ready to get on off to sleep when I hear this nasty howl of cackling lightning coming over the Ord. Well, it sounds like the devil, and damned if it wasn't.
He stopped talking. He's staring, thinking. So I waited.
The damn thing was crawling around my null space bubble. On the hyper side of the bubble. Riding my freaking bubble, man. Riding the fractals, just like that.
Sure, old-timer, I hear stuff like this all the time in the taverns between the stars. Hyper bogies, they call them. I'm sure you saw it.
I ain't finished. It talked to me.
He pointed the disser, oblivious to its threatening me. I looked down the muzzle at an uncomfortable sudden death. He might as well have been waving a cigarette.
Ain't no frickin' hyper bogey, I'm telling you. It talked to me. Changed faces. It looked like a gargoyle, but it could change form. Shape-shifting. It had a face like a demon made of lightning, hair made of gold and hyperfire. It spoke in Cyborgian Central Standard English. It called us pig monkeys. You stinky pig monkey. Gin? Come on here, you big blue baby. Have a drink.
Another glass, bartender? We drank for a while, tried to move the conversation into other streams, other subjects, but always, like the great tractor is tugging at him, he goes back to the bogey.
It gets worse, see? There was more of them. Hundreds more. Each uglier than the last. They were flying. Damn things had bat wings, horns and scales, like a medieval menagerie of devils. Like a 12th century etching. It knows me. It'll be back. They'll be back.
He pulled out his disser and atomized himself out of existence. That's how it happened. The few sad patrons of the bar stood up. Someone started repeating, "What the? What the?" The bartender hollered for station security. A crowd formed by the door before a couple of beefy guards finally arrived, clambering over themselves. I was questioned for a couple of hours and let go. I heard one of the officers in security whistle when they saw how much money the derelict had squired away in his credit jack. The Hyper Rat's codes were in order, like he'd said. He was a top flight pilot flying counter to the galactic spin for 10 years. Always away from the Tarantula Nebula, and always away from the Silurian clouds as well. Pizarro was there one moment, gone the next. Me, I did what business I could there and moved on, back toward the more crowded parts of the galaxy. I've stayed away from the high galactic spaces. Strangely, since the situation, I haven't been able to escape the feeling of being watched. I didn't recognize his accent from anywhere. After a while, pilots kind of lose touch with their roots and become, well, just themselves. Too convoluted by time and various perspectives of experience to really fit in anywhere but the stations. That disser he's waving looks pretty well charged too. Yeah, sure, old timer, just put that piece away, okay? There are all the bright UV sources, the OB stars, sub-millimeter emissions from the cooler dust, you know?